Taemin wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked up at the twin suns of Kepler 442b. Another day in the mines was almost over. His workers were loading the last transport ships with rare metals that would be sent to dozens of worlds across the galaxy. Life was good for humans in 2387. They had 12 worlds, millions of families, and peace with all the alien races. "Dad, look what I found!" His son Jinho ran up to him, holding a bright blue crystal. The boy was 17 and always excited about everything. He wanted to join the Galactic Academy next year and become a diplomat. "That's beautiful, son. Show it to your sister. She loves collecting those things." Taemin smiled and ruffled Jinho's hair. His daughter, Hyejin, was only 12, but she was smart like her mother. So young. Speaking of so young, she was walking toward them from the hydroponics facility. Her job was to grow food for the colony using alien technology. She made plants grow faster and bigger than ever before. The whole colony depended on her work. "How was your day, honey?" So Young asked, giving Taemin a quick kiss on the cheek. "Same as always. The Vorthak Empire ordered more titanium. They're building something big, but they won't say what." Taemin shrugged. The Vorthak were bug-like aliens who controlled many star systems. They were not friendly, but they paid well for human mining work. "I don't like them," Hyejin said, joining the family. "They have too many teeth and scary eyes." "Don't worry about them, little one. They're far away from us," So Young said, hugging her daughter. The family walked home together like they did every day. Their house was simple but comfortable. Through the windows, they could see the lights of other human families doing the same thing. Children playing, parents cooking dinner, teenagers complaining about homework. It was normal and peaceful. But high above them, invisible to human eyes, Vorthak warships moved into position. On the Vorthak command ship, General Vextar studied the holographic display of human colonies. 12 worlds, 847 billion humans. All of them would be dead in 3 days. "Are all fleets in position?" he asked his aide. "Yes, General. Every human world is surrounded. They have no idea we're here." Vextar clicked, his mandibles in satisfaction. The Vorthak Empire had spent 3 years planning this operation. They called it the Silent Harvest. The goal was simple: kill every human in the galaxy. Not some of them, not most of them, all of them. Humans were spreading too fast, taking too many worlds, growing too strong. The Galactic Coalition did not care. Some alien races actually helped the Vorthak by giving them information about human defenses. Others simply looked the other way. "Remember," Vextar told his fleet commanders, "no human can survive. No prisoners, no mercy. If even one human lives, they might rebuild. We cannot allow that." Back on Kepler 442b, Taemin was putting Hyejin to bed when the attack began. The first sign was the lights going out. Emergency power kicked in a second later, bathing everything in red light. Then the ground shook. "What was that?" So Young asked, running into Hyejin's room. Before Taemin could answer, his communication device started screaming with warnings. "Orbital bombardment. Take cover. This is not a drill." Through the window, they could see bright flashes in the sky. The Vorthak ships were firing massive weapons at the planet's surface. Each shot could destroy an entire city block. "The basement!" "Now!" Taemin shouted. The family ran downstairs as the house shook around them. Outside, they could hear explosions getting closer and closer. The screams of their neighbors filled the air. Taemin activated his emergency transmitter. All across human space, colony leaders were doing the same thing. Desperate voices filled the communication channels. "This is New Terra Colony. We are under attack by unknown ships. Repeat, we are under attack. Beijing Station reporting massive casualties. Half the station is gone. We need help. The Vorthak are killing everyone. They're not taking prisoners. Someone help us." But no help was coming. The other alien races in the Galactic Coalition had made their choice. Humanity was alone. A direct hit struck their house. The ceiling collapsed, trapping So Young under heavy beams. She looked at Taemin with tears in her eyes. "Take care of the children," she whispered, and then she was gone. Taemin pulled his son and daughter from the wreckage. Jinho was badly hurt, and Hyejin was barely breathing. All around them, their world was dying. The beautiful colonies, the peaceful families, the dreams of joining the galactic community, all of it was turning to ash. "Dad? Why are they doing this?" Jinho asked, coughing up blood. Taemin held both his children close. He had no answer. He only knew that in a few hours everything he had ever loved would be gone. "I love you both so much," he said. "We love you, too, Dad," Hai Jin whispered. As his children died in his arms, Taemin activated his transmitter one last time. His final message joined millions of others across the galaxy. "This is Taemin Park, mining supervisor of Kepler 442b. The Vorthak Empire is committing genocide against humanity. We did nothing wrong. We were peaceful. We trusted you. Remember us. Remember that we tried to be good neighbors to all of you. And remember that you let us die." The transmission ended when another Vorthak blast vaporized what was left of the Bay house. Across 12 star systems, similar scenes played out. Humans died in their homes, in their schools, in their workplaces. The Vorthak were thorough and efficient. They had studied humanity for years and knew exactly how to kill them all. By the third day, it was over. 847 billion humans were dead. Their cities were ruins. Their ships were scrap metal. Their colonies were graveyards. The galaxy thought humanity was extinct. The Galactic Coalition issued a statement expressing regret over the unfortunate incident, but took no action against the Vorthak Empire. Life went on for everyone else, but deep in space, in hidden corners that the Vorthak had missed, some humans had survived. Not many, maybe a few thousand out of hundreds of billions. They had lost everything: their families, their homes, their trust in the galaxy. What they found instead was something much darker. Something that would make the galaxy regret the day they decided humanity should die. The monster was awakening. 3 years had passed since the galaxy murdered humanity. 3 years since the Vorthak Empire turned human worlds into graveyards. 3 years since 847 billion people died while their neighbors watched and did nothing. The galaxy had moved on. The Vorthak claimed the empty human worlds for themselves. Other alien races divided up human technology and resources. Some species even celebrated, saying the universe was more stable without humanity causing problems. They were wrong about everything, especially about humanity being extinct. Commander Dongwu floated in the cockpit of his damaged warship, staring at the twisted metal that used to be Earth's moon. He had been admiral of the Human Defense Force, commanding a fleet of 300 ships. Now he commanded ghosts and memories. He was not supposed to be alive. His ship had been destroyed in the first wave of attacks, and everyone believed he died with it. But Dongwu had survived in a damaged escape pod for 6 months, drinking recycled water and eating emergency rations, waiting for rescue that never came. When he finally reached a hidden supply station, he found others like him, broken survivors who had lost everything but refused to die. Dr. Yunji was one of them. She used to study alien biology to help humans understand their galactic neighbors better. Now she studied alien biology to find the best ways to kill them. Her research ship had been in deep space when the attacks began, and she watched her home world burn from 1 billion miles away. Captain Kyung-soo had been leading a special forces mission in enemy territory when his entire species was wiped out. He came home to find nothing but empty space where human colonies used to be. His team died trying to save a human outpost that was already gone. He was the only one who made it back alive. Engineer Min Ah had designed mining equipment and transportation systems for peaceful purposes. The day her family was murdered, she started designing weapons instead. She had seen the recordings of Vorthak soldiers laughing as they killed human children. Now she wanted to make sure no Vorthak would ever laugh again. These 4 survivors found each other in the Void Nebula, a dangerous region of space that most ships avoided. The nebula's radiation and gravitational fields made it almost impossible to navigate, which made it perfect for hiding. "We need to talk," Dongwu said as they gathered in the small meeting room of their makeshift base. Outside the windows, purple clouds of gas and debris swirled in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "The galaxy thinks we're extinct," he continued. "Every alien government, every military force, every news organization, they all believe humanity is gone forever. That gives us an advantage they don't expect." Dr. Yunji pulled up a holographic display showing the Vorthak Empire's current territory. They've taken 4 more human worlds since the genocide. They're using our mining equipment, our agricultural systems, even our children's toys. They're living in our homes. The Galactic Coalition has done nothing, Kyung-soo added. Worse than nothing. They've officially recognized Vorthak claims to human territory. They're treating genocide like a real estate transaction. Min-Ae's hands clenched into fists. I've been monitoring galactic communications. Do you know what they're calling it? The Great Silencing. Like we were too loud and they finally found a way to make us shut up. Dongwu nodded slowly. I've been thinking about this for 3 years. The galaxy didn't just allow our genocide. They enabled it. The Altarians provided star charts of our colonies. The Zalani sold Vorthak forces information about our defenses. The Kethtar gave them biological data about human weaknesses. So what do we do about it? Dr. Yunji asked. We make them pay, Dongwu said simply. All of them. Every species that helped. Every government that looked the other way. Every alien who thought the universe was better off without humans. He activated a holographic projector, showing detailed plans he had been working on for months. I call it the Awakening Protocol. We're not going to rebuild human civilization. We're going to become something new. Something designed for war and revenge. The plans were terrifying in their simplicity. First, they would establish hidden bases throughout the galaxy, always in places too dangerous for normal ships to reach. Second, they would recruit and train every human survivor they could find, turning them into perfect soldiers. Third, they would develop weapons and tactics specifically designed to terrorize their enemies. The galaxy wanted to erase humanity, Dongwu explained. Instead, they created something much worse. A species with nothing left to lose and all the motivation in the universe to make others suffer. Dr. Yunji studied the biological warfare section of the plan. I can do this. I know Vorthak physiology better than anyone. I can create viruses that will target their specific genetic markers. They'll die slowly and painfully, just like our families did. Mina examined the weapons specifications. These ship designs, they're not just meant to destroy enemy vessels. They're meant to make the crews suffer before they die. Psychological warfare through engineering. Exactly, Dongwu said. When a Vorthak soldier sees one of our ships, I want him to soil himself in terror. When alien children hear stories about humans, I want them to have nightmares for weeks. Fear is a weapon, and we're going to master it. Kyung-soo looked at the training programs. You want to turn human survivors into emotionless killers. People who feel nothing when they take alien lives. Are we sure this is what we want to become? Look around you. Dongwu gestured to the emptiness of space where human worlds used to shine like stars. The galaxy already decided what we should become. We're just accepting their gift. Over the following months, the 4 survivors became something between military leaders and prophets of a new human religion. The religion was simple. Every alien species was guilty of allowing humanity to die, and therefore every alien species deserved the same fate. They found other survivors hiding in asteroid fields, abandoned space stations, and the wreckage of human ships. Some were military personnel like themselves. Others were civilians who had escaped by pure luck. A few were children who had watched their parents die and now wanted nothing but revenge. Each survivor was given a choice. Try to rebuild human civilization in some remote corner of the galaxy, or join the Awakening Protocol and help make humanity into the galaxy's worst nightmare. Most chose revenge. Dr. Yunji established laboratories in 3 different nebulae, where she worked on biological weapons that would make alien species extinct one by one. Mina designed ships that looked like mechanical demons, built to cause maximum psychological damage to enemy crews. Kyung-soo created training programs that turned peaceful humans into killing machines who felt no mercy for any non-human life. And Dongwu planned their first attack. It would not be against a major Vorthak world or military installation. It would be against a simple mining station, the kind of place where Vorthak workers lived with their families, just like humans used to do. The message would be clear. If you can kill our children, we can kill yours. 6 months after the awakening, protocol began. A Vorthak mining station in the Rigel system suddenly went silent. When Vorthak military forces arrived to investigate, They found nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, no trace that the station had ever existed. The only evidence of what happened was a single message broadcast on all frequencies. You wanted humanity to be silent. Now it's your turn. The galaxy's nightmare had begun. 6 months after the first Vorthak mining station disappeared, the galaxy was starting to worry. 3 more stations had vanished without a trace. Then a small Vorthak military outpost went silent. Then a research facility. Then a civilian colony. The pattern was always the same. Normal communications one day, complete silence the next. When rescue ships arrived, they found nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, no signs of battle. The installations simply ceased to exist. Ambassador Kreeth, of the Altarian Republic, floated in his office above the Galactic Coalition headquarters, studying the reports with growing unease. The Altarians looked like floating jellyfish made of light, and right now Kreeth was flickering nervously. "This is impossible," he told his aide. 18 Vorthak installations cannot simply disappear. Someone is attacking them. But who? And how? His aide, a younger Altarian named Veltara, pulsed with uncertainty. "The Vorthak military claims they have no enemies capable of this. Their technology is among the most advanced in the galaxy. What could destroy their installations so completely that no evidence remains?" "Something new," Kreeth said quietly. "Something we don't understand." On the other side of the galaxy, General Vextar was asking himself the same questions. The Vorthak, who had led the human genocide, now found himself staring at empty space where his people used to live and work. "Show me the security footage again," he ordered his intelligence officer. The hologram displayed the last moments of mining station Ziexthon. Everything appeared normal. Vorthak workers were loading ore into transport ships. Families were eating dinner in the residential sections. Children were playing in the recreation areas. Then the lights went out. When emergency power activated 3 seconds later, the station was empty. Not destroyed, empty. Every Vorthak was gone, but their equipment remained untouched. Even the Rei, food was still warm on their dinner tables. "How is this possible?" Vextar demanded. "Where did they go?" "We don't know, General. Our best scientists have no explanation. It's as if every living being simply ceased to exist." What the Vorthak didn't know was that Dr. Yunji had perfected something terrible. She called it the Silence Maker, a weapon that could target specific DNA patterns and disintegrate any living creature that matched them. The weapon left everything else untouched, creating the perfect psychological horror. But psychological horror was only part of humanity's new strategy. Young-Ho stood on the bridge of the human warship, Last Breath, watching Vorthak patrol ships search desperately for enemies they couldn't see. He was 19 years old and had been fighting for 3 years. He barely remembered his parents or his real name. The humans who found him as a dying child had given him a new identity. Perfect Killer. Young-Ho was part of the new generation of humans that the Awakening Protocol had created. The trauma of genocide had done something to human genetics, unlocking potential that had been hidden for thousands of years. These new humans were faster, smarter, and completely without mercy for any non-human life. "Target acquired," Young-Ho reported to Commander Dongwu. 6 Vorthak patrol ships, standard formation. They're looking for us, but they're using old detection methods. "Show them what we've learned," Dongwu replied. The Last Breath had been designed by Minna to be more than just a warship. Its hull was covered in adaptive camouflage that could mimic empty space or asteroid fields. Its weapons could fire through dimensions, bypassing shields and armor completely. Most importantly, its psychological warfare systems could broadcast fear directly into the minds of enemy crews. Young-Ho activated the fear broadcasters. On the Vorthak ships, crew members suddenly began screaming. They saw impossible things. Human children with their throats cut, standing in their corridors and pointing accusingly at them. They heard voices of the dead humans, listing the names of their murdered families. The Vorthak ships broke formation and fled in panic, but there was nowhere to run. Young-Ho's targeting systems locked onto each vessel simultaneously and fired. The weapons that hit the Vorthak ships were not designed for quick kills. Minna had built them to cause maximum suffering. The enemy crews had several minutes to understand what was happening to them before they died. Several minutes to feel the same terror that human families had felt 3 years ago. When it was over, Young-Ho felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, no emotion at all. That was what made him perfect for this war. The galaxy had killed the human capacity for mercy along with their families. 6 enemy vessels destroyed, he reported. No survivors. Good, Dongwu said. Now broadcast the message. The message was always the same, sent on all frequencies so every species in the galaxy would hear it. We are the children you tried to murder. We are the nightmare you created. We are coming for all of you. Back on the Coalition headquarters, Ambassador Kreeth received reports of the Vorthak patrol ship destruction. This time there was security footage, and what he saw made his light form flicker with terror. The human ships moved like nothing he had ever seen. They appeared from nowhere, struck with impossible precision, and vanished before the Vorthak could respond. But more terrifying was the broadcast message. Humans were supposed to be extinct. The Vorthak genocide had been thorough and complete. How could any humans be left alive? Kreeth called an emergency session of the Galactic Coalition. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to discuss the growing threat. The evidence is clear, Kreeth announced. Humans survived their attempted extinction, and they are systematically destroying Vorthak installations. The question is, what do we do about it? A Zilani representative, a snake-like creature with 6 arms, spoke. First, this is not our problem. The Vorthak chose to attack humanity. Now they face the consequences. But what if the humans don't stop with the Vorthak? Asked a Kethtar delegate resembling a walking crystal formation. What if they blame all of us for allowing the genocide to happen? That's ridiculous, scoffed a Trilarian ambassador. Humans were always peaceful. Even if some survived, they'll eventually calm down and try to rebuild their civilization. This is just temporary revenge. Ambassador Kreeth accessed the intelligence. Files on recent human activity. What he found chilled him to his core. I'm afraid you're wrong, he said quietly. Our analysis of human communications suggests they're not interested in rebuilding. They've become something new, something designed specifically for war. He displayed intercepted human military communications on the main screen. The language was cold, technical, and completely without emotion. Humans discussed the extinction of alien species the way they used to discuss mining operations. They're not just fighting the Vorthak, Kreeth continued. They're preparing for war against every species that allowed their genocide to happen. According to this intelligence, they have a list. Every government that stayed neutral, every species that provided aid to the Vorthak, every alien race that celebrated humanity's destruction. The assembled delegates fell silent as the implications sank in. They're planning to commit genocide against us? Whispered the Zilani representative. No, Kreeth corrected. Genocide is killing most of a species and leaving some survivors. What humans are planning is extinction, complete erasure from existence, just like what happened to them. In the depths of space, Commander Dongwu smiled as he listened to intercepted Coalition communications. Fear was spreading through the galaxy like a virus, exactly as planned. The monster was no longer hiding. It was hunting, and its prey was every alien species that thought humanity deserved to die. 2 years had passed since humanity revealed itself to the galaxy. 2 years of systematic terror that left entire star systems empty. The Vorthak Empire, once one of the most powerful forces in known space, had lost 60% of its territory. But humanity's rage had not cooled with victory. It had expanded like wildfire to consume everything that had wronged them. Dr. Su-Jin sat in her laboratory aboard the human ship, Memory of Earth, perfecting her latest creation. She used to be a child psychologist, helping young humans deal with nightmares and fears. Now she created nightmares for alien children and turned fears into weapons that could break minds before battles even began. Her current project was designed specifically for the Altarian Republic. The jellyfish-like aliens communicated through patterns of light, and Su-Jin had discovered how to hack directly into their visual centers. Her psychic viruses could make Altarians see the dying faces of human children every time they tried to sleep. The Altarian Third Fleet is moving toward human territory, reported her assistant, a young human named Tai-Ho who had never known peace. Admiral Wu Bin requests your nightmare protocols. Tell him they'll be ready in 6 hours, Su-Jin replied without looking up from her work. Make sure the Altarians understand that helping the Vorthak was a mistake they'll regret for the A. rest of their very short lives. Admiral Wu Bin commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. 300 ships that appeared on no official records and used technology that shouldn't have existed. His specialty was making entire star systems disappear from galactic maps, not destroyed, simply gone, as if they had never existed. The secret to his success was a combination of Dr. Yunji's biology expertise and Minei's engineering genius. They had created weapons that could rewrite matter at the quantum level, turning planets into empty space and stars into cold darkness. The psychological effect was devastating. Alien species lived in constant fear that their homeworlds might simply vanish overnight. Altarian fleet detected, reported his tactical officer. 47 ships, including 3 dreadnoughts. They're broadcasting surrender terms. Wu Bin almost laughed. Almost, because the part of him that could feel humor had died with his species 3 years ago. Surrender terms? After they provided star charts to help murder our children? They claim they were coerced by the Vorthak. They say they want to make amends. The only amends they can make is ceasing to exist, Wu Bin said coldly. Deploy the nightmare protocols and prepare for complete extinction. No survivors, no wreckage, no evidence they ever lived. The battle that followed wasn't really a battle. It was an execution disguised as warfare. Dr. Su Jin's psychic viruses infected the Altarian crews, making them see horrors that drove them insane. Minna's dimensional weapons bypassed every shield and armor system the aliens had ever designed. Young humans like Tae Ho piloted fighter craft with impossible skill, moving through space like deadly dancers performing a ballet of revenge. When it was over, 47 alien ships and their entire crews had been reduced to quantum foam. The Altarian Third Fleet had never existed, and soon neither would the Altarian species. But humanity's list of enemies extended far beyond those who had directly participated in the genocide. 3 years of investigation had revealed the full scope of galactic complicity in humanity's attempted extinction. The Silent were humanity's answer to espionage and infiltration. They were the ghosts in the machine, the whispers in the dark, the fears that alien leaders couldn't quite explain. For 2 years, they had been placing themselves in positions of power throughout galactic society, learning secrets and preparing for the final phase of human revenge. Jin Wu was one of the Silent. He looked like a normal Kethtar crystal being, thanks to advanced disguise technology that fooled even genetic scanners. For 18 months, he had worked as a communications officer in the Kethtar Defense Ministry, learning every detail of their military capabilities and government structure. Tonight, he was sending his final report to Human Command before activating Protocol 7, the complete infiltration and subversion of an alien government from within. Kethtar leadership is in panic, he transmitted. They know humans are coming for them. They've been trying to negotiate with other species for a defensive alliance, but everyone is too afraid to help. Fear of humanity is tearing the galactic coalition apart. Commander Dongwu received Jin Wu's report from his command ship in the Void Nebula. What had started as a hidden base for 4 survivors had grown into a massive military complex that served as the center of humanity's war machine. Thousands of human survivors from across the galaxy had found their way here, drawn by the promise of revenge against those who had wronged them. But the humans arriving at the Void Nebula were no longer entirely human. The trauma of genocide had accelerated human evolution in ways that scientists were still trying to understand. Enhanced intelligence, faster reflexes, perfect memory, and complete emotional control when it came to warfare, humanity was becoming something new. Status report, Dongwu requested from his officers. Captain Kyung-soo, now in charge of special operations, delivered the intelligence summary. Vorthak Empire is down to 12% of original territory. Estimated time to complete extinction: 4 months. Altarian Republic has lost its entire military fleet and is requesting asylum from species that no longer exist. Zolani Trade Federation is abandoning their homeworld after 3 of their colonies vanished overnight. Dr. Yunji added her biological warfare update. Kethtar-specific virus is ready for deployment. It will target their silicon-based metabolism and cause them to literally fall apart at the molecular level. Death will be slow and visible to other species as a warning. Engineer Minna reported on weapons development. New ship designs are complete. The Terror-class vessels aren't just warships, they're mobile nightmare generators. Enemy crews will go insane from fear before we even fire our weapons. Dongwu nodded as he processed the information. The human war machine had become efficient beyond his wildest dreams. They were no longer just fighting the Vorthak Empire. They were systematically exterminating every species that had played a role in humanity's attempted genocide. "What about the neutral species?" asked Dr. Su Jin. "The ones who didn't help the Vorthak but also didn't try to stop the genocide?" "There are no neutral species," Dongwu replied. "Neutrality in the face of genocide is complicity. They chose their side when they decided our extinction was acceptable." The list of condemned species was extensive. The Trilarians, who had celebrated humanity's destruction, the Nexari, who had bought human slaves during the chaos, the Vorth Tai, who had provided medical support to Vorthak forces, the Zalani, who had sold information about human refugee movements, even species that had simply remained silent while their neighbors were murdered. All of them would pay the same price that humanity had paid: extinction. "Begin Phase 3, Dongwu ordered. "Simultaneous attacks on 14 star systems. I want every species on our list to understand that their judgment day has arrived." Across the galaxy, human fleets emerged from hiding places that alien sensors couldn't detect. Ships that looked like mechanical demons materialized in orbit around unsuspecting worlds. The nightmares that Dr. Su Jin had crafted began broadcasting into the minds of billions of alien civilians. The message was always the same: "You allowed our children to die. Now we return the favor." Some alien governments tried to surrender, others attempted to flee to distant galaxies. A few even tried to negotiate, offering vast resources in exchange for mercy. Humanity's response was uniform: extinction was not negotiable. In the depths of space, the last free aliens huddled in their ships and space stations, listening to the silence where their civilizations used to sing. The galaxy that had once been filled with the voices of hundreds of species was becoming as quiet as humanity had been for 3 years. The monster they had awakened was no longer content with revenge. It was reshaping the entire galaxy in its image, silent, empty, and haunted by the ghosts of those who had made the mistake of thinking genocide was acceptable. Soon, the only voices in the galaxy would be human, just as they had planned. The Vorthak homeworld hung in space like a dying star, its once bright cities now dark and empty. Supreme Overlord Crixnoth stood in his command center, surrounded by the last of his species. Outside the massive windows, he could see the human fleet spreading across the sky like mechanical locusts, blotting out the stars. 5 years of war had reduced the mighty Vorthak Empire to this single world. Everything else was gone: colonies, fleets, trade stations, research facilities. Billions of Vorthak had simply vanished, leaving behind empty cities and the echo of their final screams. "How many ships do they have?" Crixnoth asked his military advisor. "Our sensors detect 15,000 human vessels," the advisor replied, his voice shaking. "But our sensors lie. We know they have technology that can hide their true numbers. There could be 50,000. There could be 100,000. Crixnoth clicked his mandibles in what used to be a gesture of authority. Now it was just the nervous habit of a doomed leader. "And how many do we have to defend our homeworld?" 47 ships, Supreme Overlord. Most are damaged. Our crews are exhausted and demoralized. Many believe we are being punished by the gods for what we did to humanity." "The gods?" Crixnoth laughed bitterly. "If there are gods, they're wearing human faces now." He was right. Humanity had become something beyond mortal understanding. The survivors who had hidden in the Void Nebula 5 years ago were now the undisputed rulers of galactic civilization. Every other major species was extinct or hiding in the dark corners of space, praying that the humans wouldn't find them. Commander Dongwu stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Last Word, watching the Vorthak homeworld through enhanced sensors. His body was more machine than flesh now, upgraded with cybernetic implants that made him faster, stronger, and completely immune to human emotions like mercy or forgiveness. "Final preparations are complete," reported Admiral Wu Bin. "All human fleets are in position. Dr. Yunji's extinction viruses are loaded and ready. Dr. Sujin's nightmare protocols are active.